Okay, so anyone who wants to start out with screen refurbishment, best way to start is on the older models of 5, 6, 7, 8. Those ones getting cheap enough and nice to work on and get some experience. So this one's an iPhone 8. Put on my tester, make sure everything's working as it should be. Oh, did I turn it off or on? Yep, it's on now. Plug it in. I'll do it. Just testing all the touch works. As you see, it's different colours, so if your finger lifts, it means there's a dead spot. So if the colour changes, it means there's a dead spot, like that blue area there. So we'll just double check that, because sometimes you lift your finger up. Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Okay. Always testing between each phase, I suppose. Last thing you want to do is continue to do your work and then not know when you've messed up. It's a waste of time, and you know if you've messed up on the cutting, the cleaning, the laminating, the debubbling. Right. First things first, some tape. Try and get it down as straight as you can. If you do get some big bubbles, not a problem, as you can just get rid of them with a knife just by doing that, really. Okay, so before the vacuum goes on, temperature's already at 70 degrees Celsius. I'm going to cut at the top and bottom of this frame. This will make sense in a minute. We're keeping the bottom of the frame on, taking the sides of the frame off, and then peeling back the top. So to do that, I've scored the frame, we'll cut through it and pull sideways. Don't pull up. If there's any glass shards, as you pull them up, they'll damage the display. You have to be careful with this as well, because I've got a huge shard there. So I'm just going to try and carefully pull down. There we go. And the same on that side. I've usually got the vacuum on for this, but it's quite loud, so I've left it off for the minute. There we go. Missed a bit. Okay, next is lift up the front edges. You just need a little bit just to get the wire in. You could pull the whole lot off like that, really, depends how solid the glue is, but you don't need to, you just need to, for me anyway. Oh, just cracked the glass. Just pull it up enough so you can play around with your wire. Next, get the blade flat against the glass and scrape the glue off. Reason for this is, me personally, I like to keep the polarizer. If you've got this glue down, the wires could go over this and cut into your polarizer. Some people prefer cutting the polarizer off. I don't. I try if I can to keep everything, every part as original as possible. Some people claim that it's a cleaner finish, but I just prefer to keep everything as original as possible. So before I put the vacuum on, I'm now going to wear a glove on my left hand to hold the wire, and then we're going to pull the wire down there and just start on one side diagonally and then gradually bring it over, pulling down still so you're against the glass, and then a sawing motion. You can do these very quickly, but we're going to do it slow just to show you. So vacuum's on, again 70 degrees Celsius. So pulling down, see there, look, got that glue, just move them out of the way. Right, so down, and do that edge there first, and then with this hand, your right hand, or however you do it, you can start from the other side, doesn't matter. Now we're in, still pulling down against the glass, rocking backwards and forwards while pulling towards yourself. When you get to the end, just level out a little bit. If you have removed the frame, you can literally just pull the whole wire through, but when you're banging several of these out, you don't want to be spending time pulling frames off unnecessarily. Vacuum off, pull the LCD off, get rid of the glass, heat off, heat rather, and then what we'll do is get the tester, and make sure we haven't damaged the display. What is the point of carrying on if we've damaged it? And if we have damaged it, we know we've done something at this stage. Great, and then we'll test the touch. You may find this does jump a bit because the ochre is very sticky. That's fine. So there's a couple of ways of doing this next bit, getting the glue off. On some models, the spinning tool is good, which is this. You literally just switch this on, and this spinning tool picks up. See that? Picks up the adhesive. Sometimes it works better than it does there, but this particular model, there you go. Or what you can do is what I sometimes do is soak a cloth like this into de-limonene, not so it's drenched, and then just lay the cloth over the top and it soaks in, and then you can use a plastic razor blade to scrape this off. This is a much cheaper alternative while you're learning over this. Some people prefer using what they call a Dorco blade, which is it's like a shaving blade with a slightly rounded edge, and they snap into these things here. I can't get on with them. I think what it is, because I scratched a polarizer with them, I've never scratched one with this, but I think the people who use the Dorco ones take the polarizer off, and that LCD layer underneath doesn't get scratched as easy. So just for now, I'm just going to continue with this method. Do have to clean this quite regular. And you're not pushing down too hard on this, you're literally just putting a little bit of pressure on. If you want to put a lot of pressure down, do it over like a magic mat like this, because this is designed to push the LCD down into it for things like laminating. Without damaging the LCD through the IC chip, because the IC chip on the back will crush the back of that display. Just cleaning off the ochre off my hands. This reverses, so as you get near the end, if you spin the rod the other way, there's no chance of you running over and damaging that flex. To be honest, these 7/8 ones are quite robust if you're leaving them where they are. Ones like the iPhone 7, no, the iPhone X, the OLED ones are very fragile, very fragile. Okay, so now we've done that. We've got D-limonene here in a tub with a pumpy bottle and a magic sponge. Tiny amount of D-limonene on there, and we're just going to rub over the LCD. And as you can see, it just takes off that greasy ochre that's left over. You don't want to go too mad with this liquid because it will go in between the backlight layer and you'll have like a washed out display. I'm pushing down a little bit, but that's only because I've got the magic mat under me, and that's helping me put a little bit of force down, but you don't need to do that. You can just let the sponge do the work. Right, once you think you've got everything off, which it looks like it has there, this is a new cleaning cloth with 99% isopropyl, and that gets all the greasy residue off, and you're able to see if there's any scratches. There's some very light ones on this, but this will go with the ochre. They will be hidden, these ones. I'm not concerned about them. I have got another little trick for that as well. I'll show you actually. Don't worry if these aren't immaculate at this stage. We have another cleaning stage in a minute. We're just getting rid of the greasy residue at this point. And again, don't overload the cloth. You want it damp basically, just to get rid of that. Right, so what we do now, we'll take it over to the clean room or clean area, and we'll start with lamination. Okay, so this is my clean room. Got the fan on, so I'm using YMJ. So I've got a base mould. We have a little notch cut out the side. So the first one, the base one, so the idea is, I'll put that on in a minute. You've got a red mat, so all these little notches or cutouts line up with one another. Yeah, and then it pushes down like that. So this goes at the bottom. So that notch is effectively the top right of the display if you're confused. That goes there because this is where the little home button flex sits, and that sits like that. So what I will do is get some glass. Just make sure I've got the right one. Nope. I've got one. Okay, so what I like to do as well, even though it's come fresh out the packet, is wipe the film down, front and back, because if you've got any debris on there, as soon as you pull it off, that dust will go everywhere. Just give everything a wipe down. Should have done this earlier. Okay, so what we're using now is acetone, and this evaporates off very quickly, so we're going to give it a quick wipe over. Still got a few streaks, but we'll sort that out in a minute. We've probably still got that residue from the glue earlier. Right. So now this goes into our frame. So what we do is clean it down. This will go in there like that, and we'll pull the ochre off and place that down in one quick motion. So we'll leave that there, clean the OLED again, the LCD, sorry, and any scratches, which I can see some there. I don't usually use that spinning tool, I usually use the plastic blade, if I'm honest. We use this scratch remover paint pen and just go over the scratches, and that will eliminate them. So we might need a few passes, new cloths, etc. Wait, one more. So the green light highlights any dust on the display. So what we're going to do now is use our pen . I wouldn't normally use it on something that small, but I just thought I'd show you the application of it. And then now this is going to go into the laminator. Be careful so you don't knock anything around. Okay, so my settings are already put in. So what's happening now is, turn the light off. It pulls the vacuum for 45 seconds. Sorry, that's the temperature there. Then it pulls the vacuum for 45 seconds. Once it hits that, their head will come down and press the glass LCD assembly together and hold it for 40 seconds at 0.18 megapascals. So my settings are here. This is what I've worked on. So at the moment I'm doing iPhone LCD to glass. All the pressures are there. So now the head's come down, and now it's holding it in place. The other noise you can hear is the compressor. Once that's done, we're bound to have some bubbles, so it will go into this one here at about 45 bar, 45 degrees. Some models you'll get away with no bubbles at all when you laminate. Some models you will get bubbles. And then what we'll do, we'll test again. Bear with, I'll get the tester. There we go, some bubbles in there. That's fine. Pull that off. Just put that in there out the way at the moment. And then what we'll do, we'll test this. And again, we'll see if we've done something wrong from the cleaning stage up to here, which we haven't. I do. So next, this goes into the debubbler. Put the light back on. I am a bit tight for room here. And press start. And that just pushes compressed air in. I've got this set to just over 0.5 bar. I have got an adjustment on the side there to drop it down, increase it, whatever. Yeah, and that literally stays in there for a couple of minutes maximum for these models usually. I'm using YMJ molds as you've just seen, but up here for other models, which we will go through at some other point, same King molds for OLED displays. So the panel sits in there and the glass sits on there, and it compresses down the glass onto the display. And for cheaper ones, because I do not many of them at all, there's ones like this. So this is for the iPhone 7 5.5. These are for the larger, these are for the plus models. So the LCD goes in there, and then the glass goes on top, and you literally just touch the glass to the ochre, just a little touch, and then you put the whole assembly onto this, and then you put this on a black magic mat into the laminator and press go. With these you don't want to be doing this, otherwise you'll have bubbles everywhere. You literally just touch the glass like that, and away you go. The thing is, these YMJ molds, they're so expensive. It's like £70 per phone. So for me, I've got Samsung as well. So as you can imagine, it adds up. I've got those up there, and molds back there, all for Samsung and iPhone. Okay, so that's not even been a minute maybe. Let me just show you how quick these bubbles come out. There. And those scratches gone. No bubbles. So quick in that little machine. And then we'll test again. Forgive me, I've got doing this one-handed and holding the phone. Sorry, not phone, my camera. It is a phone. Switch it on. Colours are all good. Oh. Give me a minute, I don't think I've plugged that in correctly. 1 minute. So I have to plug it in with 2 hands. There we go. And yes, it's the same one. Another one to look out for, it's easier on here to get away with it, but on the white ones you could tell if your alignment's good because you'll have an equal amount of black border on your phone or LCD, which is indicated, I don't know if you can see, by a red line, and that alignment is absolutely perfect. Say perfect, and maybe like 1 pixel out from the top to bottom. That is it. So there you go. Other models will be shown at some point, but this is if you're just getting into it, and hopefully this helps you.